What should gay men talk about in therapy? Hey guys, this is Michael Pizzulo. I'm a psychotherapist here in West Hollywood. So you may have already taken the leap and made the first call, maybe even booked a first session with your therapist, maybe even had a session, which is fantastic. And I think we focus so much in our culture these days about seeking out help, but we often don't talk about what do I do once I have that help in front of me. A lot of people go to therapy and they just don't know what to talk about, even though they feel motivated to go and work on themselves. They're just not quite sure what to say. So I want to give you some few ideas, especially if you're a gay man, of what you can bring to your therapy for conversation and for processing and for all that good stuff. So the first one should definitely be your sexuality. Even if you are out and proud and you feel like you've worked through all of it and you don't have any quote unquote trauma around it, I think all gay men deal with some internalized homophobia, so it's definitely something that you want to at least touch base on. If you do have trauma around those things, and obviously that's going to be important to address. And then also too, just in terms of your general sex life, like how you're using apps, insecurities that get triggered by them, which apps you're using, porn you're watching, all those sorts of things are just a part of like the modern gay man's life and should be part of the therapeutic conversations for sure. The next one's going to be your upbringing. This is essential for anyone. It's cliche, but it's true. Like, you've got to go back to your childhood. We know that our past dictates our future and our present. And if you want to understand yourself, you're going to have to understand the things that influenced you and molded you into who you are today. So this goes without saying for anyone going to therapy or doing work on themselves. I would say for gay men in particular, pay special attention to your relationship with your dad, because our fathers model masculinity for us, and most gay men had fathers who were straight. Not all, but most did. And so there's going to be a gap there of I didn't follow masculinity in the way it was modeled for me. And I think that can create all kinds of insecurities or self-confidence issues. And so that's something I would definitely bring into therapy and start to work through in terms of how you own masculinity as an out gay man today. The third thing, and this might sound surprising, is you're going to want to talk about your relationship with your therapist. So contrary to popular opinion, therapists are not blank screens or non-judgmental. We're human, and obviously we don't reveal certain personal details, but people do this thing called projecting, and in therapy that happens a lot, and it's a good thing because it's useful information. So you want to think about, how do I feel toward my therapist? So for example, someone who is sharing something very vulnerable might feel like they're being attuned to and the person is empathetic and it's like the mom I never had, or they might feel like they're being judged, the person's being cold, the therapist doesn't get them. And these things are very important because they say a lot about how we attach to people and particularly how we allow others to take care of us. So it's going to be useful information. It might feel a little bit off topic, but it's about you, not about them. And you're already there, you're already paying, you're already investing your time, and it's really valuable information, so definitely don't leave it on the table. I can't stress that enough. And then the last thing is resistance. So human beings resist change. We go towards what's familiar, even when what's familiar is toxic and horrible for us. It's just an unfortunate quirk of nature. So change is hard, and there's gonna be a push and pull of, I wanna get better, but I'm also resisting. And this is something that you're gonna wanna bring into therapy as well. I think a lot of people feel like they have to be like the good patient and just pretend and be polite and sort of act like, oh, I love therapy and it's going great and I every session is a joy, and it doesn't have to be like that at all, and it won't be. Sometimes it's going to be hard. Sometimes you're not going to want to go. Sometimes you're going to bump up against your own limitations, your own resistances, and this is just part of the process. You don't have to be fully engaged and motivated every time, and if you are, if you're saying that you are, there's no way. So just embrace resistance as part of the process. I find that the more you talk about it, actually the more it lessens, rather than trying to pretend it's not there. So really would encourage you to talk about resistance to therapy as you're in therapy to help the process go smoothly. So these are a few things I really recommend working through and bringing into therapy and talking about in therapy if you're a gay man, but really if you're anyone. If you have any other ideas or big subjects that you found very useful, I would love to hear about it in the comments. So thanks, guys.